Well, this is just a guess, but Saskatchewan seems like a likely winner once this goes through. Let's find out from the man himself. Brad Wall is Premier of the province, and he joins me on the phone. Premier, I'm just curious if you could give me your initial thoughts on what this deal will mean for Saskatchewan in particular and the Western Canada in general.
I don't think it's hyperbole to suggest that it is historic, Don. This is a very important trade agreement, and congratulations to the Prime Minister. I think are due, and to the Minister of Trade, Ed Fast. As Richard reported, it's been a long time in the making. In our country, when you negotiate free trade deals, there's a provincial involvement, and the federal government have been determined to get a deal. This is a good one. This is a good deal by any reasonable measure, knowing that these agreements generally are about give and take. For the province of Saskatchewan, we're looking at nationally about $1.3 billion more in agricultural sales, and we've got about 40% of the arable acres, second largest beef herd, so there'll be a disproportionate benefit certainly on that front for the province. It's one of the reasons we're supportive, Don. There's another element here that is very unique to Saskatchewan but important for the country. There has been up until now non-resident ownership restrictions on uranium investments in the country, which are principally in Saskatchewan, though this may be a benefit to Nunavut as well. That limits the amount of investment you can have from companies like Areva in any one mine, or maybe Rio Tinto, who are interested, who've looked at a play in our province. These restrictions are being removed. It's something we suggested the federal government be a part of the CETA framework. It is. So when you consider mining and agriculture, it's important for the province, and we see it as a benefit really for the whole country. So we're very supportive of the deal.
I know one thing you're involved in also is looking at national savings that can be done for healthcare, specifically prescription drugs. There is some extended patent protection here for drugs that might come in from Europe. What's your take on what that might do to increase these drug costs to consumers and to provinces?
Well, we've heard from the federal government that they're going to keep provincial governments whole with respect to this. There'll be a compensation. I think what we're looking at here is a reasonable measure. We're talking about a 2-year extension, but it's up to 2 years is our understanding. It could be limited to the time it takes for drugs to go through the approval process, for new drugs to go through the approval process. For however long it is and whatever impact there is on costs, the federal government are going to step in. There's also, from a healthcare perspective, an advantage to the research that's encouraged in terms of developing the sort of the next generation of pharmaceuticals by some patent protection. So I think this is a good balance. These trade agreements are give and take, and we know from our experience in NAFTA that they're imperfect, but we also understand the millions of dollars that have been invested in our country as a result of NAFTA and the thousands of jobs that have been created and then sustained. On the whole, these trade agreements are very important for a country like Canada, with a relatively small population but lots to offer the world.
I always like to pry with you on other things, and then you're having your throne speech next week. I'm wondering if this is going to factor into what you'll be announcing to the voters of Saskatchewan. Well, the trade deal won't itself, but certainly we'll want to go through the legislature as quickly as possible, and I hope there'll be unanimity. It's interesting to watch the reaction, Don, to this particular trade announcement. I remember well, I was involved in the debate as a much younger person on the free trade debate with respect to NAFTA and the Canada-U.S. deal, and there seems to be a different start to it, much more positive start. But we'll want to go through the legislature. We have a growth agenda we've been working on hard in our province for a long time, and international engagement's a big part of that. I'm just back from Asia, a trade mission there. By the way, Don, we'd like the federal government to begin free trade negotiations with the ASEAN regions in Southeast Asia, and to continue to work with Japan. But trade is important, so in terms of a throne speech focused on the economy, you bet we'll be talking about trade. Okay, one trade deal at a time there, Premier. All right, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Don. Take care.
All right. So, where's the